Fate decided.
Let's get this party started.
Craven something scary.
Hello, Sidney.
KillJoy Jake.
Don't you swear at me, you little shit! Don't you ever raise your voice at me! I am your mother!
Nightwatch Zone.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
Get up!
The collective has spoken.
What's going on, everyone? Lethal Collective Q&A Mondays. Fate decided, and KillJoy Jake, and we are in the midst of the tail end of our Scream 6 questioning and theorizing and hopes and dreams and thoughts and whatever we want to call it. And we're here to answer questions as well. What's going on, man?
Yeah, we're here. We're here diving into this stuff.
Yeah,
answer some questions. Give our
That's right.
Scream 7 theories and thoughts and
That's right, man.
all that noise.
I mean, it's got to be an announcement that'll be coming soon. I would assume, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got to imagine. I saw something today that said like Scream 6 has made like 139 million or something like that.
Domestic.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't remember if it said domestic or worldwide, but made like 139 million, and which is good. I mean, you got to figure. So that means it's on pace to probably hit like 160 to 170. So if that happens, I mean, what they because how long has it been out? It's been out 3 weeks now.
Yeah, 3 weeks. Yep.
Give or take. So yeah, it was like what, 3 weeks, 3 or so weeks, maybe a month after the release of 5 that they made the announcement for 6.
Yeah,
So,
it was crazy.
yeah, so I figure probably in the next like, I don't know, week or so, we'll probably hear the official announcement for Scream 7. We know that they're writing it. We know that they're working on it, so it's coming.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
just when are they gonna decide to make that announcement?
Yeah, man. It's got to be right around the corner. So, for you guys in the chat, what's going on? And a blanket hello to everyone, including Swamps and the General and Lisa. What's going on?
Spicy General.
Spicy. Excuse me. And Ryan, what's going on? Ryan, good to see you. All right.
What's up?
The only reason I could see the movie being delayed would be if the directors are going to switch. Well, that's a good point too. Do you think there's any way that they're going to switch and get out of the Scream business at this point?
I think I don't think it'll necessarily be up to them. You know, I think it'll, because I mean, they have other obligations.
Right.
So
right.
my guess is it's one of two things if they don't do it. I think either A, the studio wants to go a different direction, you know, not saying that Radio Silence hasn't done a good job or anything like that, but maybe they want to get out of like the, you know, the story that they're in right now, maybe, you know, give it a different look, a flair, something like that. You see that happen from time to time because you got to keep in mind, they spent like 100 million, if not more, on the rights to the Scream franchise. So they're probably not even in the green yet. Even if this movie does make 160 million, between, you know, cost of all that, between, you know, box office, you know, paying the theaters and stuff, marketing budget, and then the 100 million on top of it, they might need another like 2, 3, 4 movies. And they might look at it as like, hey, let's change pace. Like, let's, you know, keep things. So like maybe, you know, every 2 or 3 films, a new director comes. Or I think the second thing will be Radio Silence just has other stuff going on and they need to pivot and they have to focus that stuff. And the studio wants Scream 7 out next year. And maybe they just can't do it because they're supposed to be working on Escape to New York and stuff. So it might just be just a timeline issue too. So I mean, I could see them. I could see a different Scream movie with somebody else. Question is, who is that somebody else?
Right.
So
That's a good question too, man. I mean, who would step up to the plate and be a good fit?
yeah,
I don't know,
well,
man.
without changing it too much to where, because I mean, you're having success with the way that you're going about it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the last thing you want to do is change the. I mean, the writing will be the same because still the same writers, but
Right.
direction can really change a lot of things. So if they if they get somebody that's just too left field, then you can really kind of ruin the flow, right? It's kind of like the don't fix what ain't broke type thing.
Right.
So I think your best scenario would be write a fresh story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't have the tie-ins. Like this, I felt Scream 6 was kind of like your was a good full circle, right? Like, I feel like you can tell a clean break story in Scream 7.
Right.
If it was me, I'd do clean break story and then find a director. If Radio Silences want to do it, find a director that can go a similar style.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a carbon copy.
Right.
Because
But something that makes sense.
Yeah, something that find somebody that can keep the dark undertone that we got for these last two films.
In other words, you don't want to go from Tim Burton to Joel Schumacher.
Exactly.
You don't want to do that because then you end up. Let me stop. Hey,
I know.
we have our man Craven jumping on too here. Let me bring him in as well.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Craven?
Hey guys.
Hey.
What is up?
How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm hanging in there, brother. It's good to be with you guys today.
Yes, absolutely, man.
Yes.
We were just talking about Radio Silence, Scream 7 when it'll be announced, hopefully soon, and if Radio Silence will stay on board as the directors and so forth, and if not, and I jumped in on Fate because he made a great point that you want to have whoever would come in, if it's someone different, to have a similar style that makes sense. And I just made a crack about how when Tim Burton did the second Batman movie, and then all of a sudden they brought Joel Schumacher in for the third, and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
Yes.
It didn't.
Yeah, I agree. It's, you don't want Ryan Johnson coming in after J.J. Abrams.
Right? There you go.
And then J.J. comes back to clean it up.
Oh my God, you're so right. Oh my goodness. Good point.
Show. They should.
Good point.
Not to talk Star Wars, but man, if they just would have kept JJ for all three, that may have been a decent trilogy.
It may have, or at least it would have had some type of a better rhythm,
continuity. Yeah. But no, I agree, guys. I think they've established something here with 6, especially. Right. And so I would hope they would, and again, we don't know for sure what the long game is for the Carpenters. Is the production company, is James Vanderbilt's vision to have Sam and Tara around like Sidney was around for all those years? Maybe. We don't know.
Right.
I always assumed it's a trilogy. I always think the plan was to do 3 movies and then you do something new again. Especially with this, with Tara's career. Jenna Ortega.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to imagine her being here for 7 movies or 6 movies, but anything's possible. But I mean, the biggest thing is the writers are going to be the same.
Yeah.
So if Radio Silence doesn't do it, I think they will personally. But if they don't, at least you've still got Guy and James. So the story will be the darkness and stuff. Hopefully will still all be there in the writing, but they just need a director to bring it to alive, right? And
Right.
And I think that, I'm sure that that's going to have to be something they're thinking about, hopefully. Because like you say, I mean, you don't want to have this, this just drastic turn and you're like, what am I watching? What happened? But I think I like the direction they're going, and I hope that James and Guy continue to write that way. And but my money is, if I had to put money on it, I think Radio Silence was going to do it. I do.
I agree. The PR is saying, for me, 70% chance that Radio Silence leaves the boat, which means no Scream 7 until 2025, maybe more if the new directors have no chemistry with the actors. I don't know. I think I don't know if it's.
I think that's.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. I think the only way that Radio Silence leaves is because they want to get a Scream 7 out next year. Because Radio Silence has other things that they need to start working on, like within the next year. So the only way I think Radio Silence doesn't do Scream 7 is what I was talking about earlier, where it's just the timeline's not going to work. The studio's not going to want to wait 2-3 years to get out another movie when the ball's rolling. I mean, you got 139 million already with this movie. This movie will probably hit 160 to 170 by the time it's all said and done. They're not going to want to wait 2-3 years to get another movie out. They're going to want to ride this train. So if Radio Silence can do it, I think it gets done. If they're like, hey, we got to do this Escape from New York thing, then I think they bring somebody else in that tries to find a similar style. Like I said, because you don't want to change. You don't want too much change up. You want it to stay similar. I mean, obviously, you want them to add their own flair. Like I said, I hope they just tell a new story. Stop tying into the past. Okay, you did what you did in Scream 5. You did what you did in Scream 6. That was great. I enjoyed both films. Now, let's get clean break, new story, fresh story. Get a new director, whatever. And let's just get off to the races. Like, let's go get, several more films. I think they're going to keep riding this train until the wheels fall off. Because, again, they had to have spent at least, I've seen numbers that were like, they might have spent as much as 150 to 200 million on the Scream rights. If that's the case, then they're probably still 100 million in the negative. Like, if that's anywhere close. But it was probably somewhere in like the 100 to maybe 120 million. So again, one movie, just like, that doesn't even get you that money back. You have to pay all the theaters, you have to pay the marketing, you have the budget. Their budget between these two films have been, 70 million, 75 million between the two films. And then that's not even counting another probably 75 million in marketing. So right there, just with the budgets and the marketing, they're in with the cost of the franchise, probably 300 million. And now you're talking that's not even counting theaters. It's not even counting like little odds and ends. Like, they probably need another 2-3 movies for them to really make money. So I just think Scream 7's your real shot to like clean break, tell a new story, keep the surviving characters, kill some people off, and there you go. And if Radio Silence comes back, great. If they don't, they don't.
Right. I agree. What's going on, Jake?
What's up, guys? Sorry about that. I've been like, two things hit me like right at the same time, and it was just horrible. Little bit of a disaster. My neighbor's fence fell over in our yard, so we had to go and like push it back up and like get it all screwed back up. And I've been waiting for a phone call all day, so sorry about that. I'm back.
No problem. No problem at all. No, we're just talking about when we think 7 will be greenlit, and then the possibility of Radio Silence staying on to direct it, and if not, who might? And if Radio Silence doesn't, why won't they? Which, of course, as Fate was saying, they got other stuff going on too, especially Escape from New York. Which,
well, just to throw, I'm sure this has probably already been said, but I'll just throw this out. I'll just throw this out and just like say, my big thing why I don't think it's been announced yet is because of that. Like on the Dead Meat podcast, they said they're literally about to go to Ireland to go film some like secret project and all that. They're really busy. So I imagine that's why it hasn't been greenlit yet. Like something, there's just some timing, scheduling issues, probably trying to figure something out. I'm sure they want to do it. It's just like, we have all these other things we want to do, It's like, oh man, it's tough. We have all these other options. So I can imagine that's kind of what's going on behind the scenes right now. They're just figuring out like what's going on, when this is actually going to happen. And it very much so is a possibility that the next film is not with radio silence. I guess I'm okay with that, but like I love what they've done personally. I love what they've done with the franchise. I'd love to see them do one more, but I said that about David Gordon Green with Halloween Kills, and then I just wasn't impressed with Ends. So maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. I don't want to put words in people's mouths. I don't want to say that, oh man, if they do a third one, it's going to suck. That's not true.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm open-minded to it because I do think there are some other directors out there that could kill it with a Scream movie. Like I would love to see Mike Flanagan touch this franchise. That might be really cool.
That would be cool.
There's a lot of people. Christopher Landon too, I think would do a really good Scream movie. But I'm open to it. I'm impressed by radio silence, and not just anybody can make a Scream movie, I guess is the big point with this.
That's a good point. Yeah, you have to be careful. You do have to be careful.
Like Rob Zombie's Scream would not.
Oh my god!
I love Rob Zombie, but
right.
Yeah.
Don't say that, dude.
And we've already seen what can happen. That is a great. As soon as you said that, man, I started just having this image of what his Scream would look like. Oh my god!
And he's
Tomorrow
listen,
we're gonna-
man. House of a Thousand Corpses, kick-ass movie. Like I love it. He's got his style, and he is so like that's the movies I'm gonna make, and I appreciate that. I respect him for that. But it would clash with a Scream film.
Yeah. Oh,
just to be so clear.
Look at
Tomorrow
Faith.
we're
He's
gonna
got
get
the
the
biggest
announcement.
smile on his face. He wants to see it too. He wants to see it.
I just want to see it just to watch everyone melt down. Like I think it would be terrible, but I think it'd also be a good story. I think it'd be hilarious because you have those two camps. You have the people that Rob Zombie can do no wrong and everything he touches is the best movie ever, and then you have the other camps that are like he's trash and he shouldn't touch horror movies. And I'm here for that.
I'm here for that. Oh man. Real quick too, and the Spicy General is also mentioning, and yes, Craven, congratulations on hitting 9K.
Oh, thank you guys.
Congrats.
Right.
Congrats,
Happened
man.
today.
Yeah,
Nice.
man. Yep, absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Good
And
stuff.
Carrie as well. What's going on, Carrie? All right.
All right,
Thank you guys. That's awesome.
Thank you, Gary.
And we've got some super chats coming in. We got Jason with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Saying Stew Train is coming. Next stop is Scream 7.
Let's
Stu's
go.
the mastermind. Oh man.
Get it out.
Oh my gosh. You got me coughing. Craven, we love you, buddy. Knight, you're the man. Fate, keep that streak alive. Iron Man.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Too funny. Thanks a lot, man. Lighting Ghost as well, coming in with a $2 super chat. Thank you so much. We appreciate the legend himself. Saying congrats on 9K. Very, very cool.
Thank you, Lighting Ghost. Much appreciated, man.
And Jason coming in again with a $2 super chat saying, KillJoy Jake, you're killing it. Alligator for life. Alligator for life.
It's the best. It's like the best B movie ever made, man. It's killer shit.
Oh,
I'm gonna buy you an
It is
alligator
good.
one day for your birthday.
Right?
Nothing would make me happier.
Of course it
One year
will.
for your birthday, you're just gonna wake up and you're just gonna have an alligator. In your
Oh,
He'll have the
What?
biggest smile on his face.
A bunch of rats and an alligator.
I
Man,
know.
Yeah,
it'd be
I
awesome. Oh god.
And Brandon coming in with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Brandon. We appreciate that. Saying, I'd like to see them play into this darkness that could be in Terra now after killing Ethan. Jenna Ortega does crazy well. What do you guys think?
It kind of sounds like Halloween ends. Please, God, no. Please.
No ghost
For
face,
the love
just Jenna Ortega killing people the whole
For the
movie.
love of everything, no.
For the love of everything.
No, I do get the sentiment. I think it was kind of worded in a weird way, but I do get Jenna Ortega, she looked like she liked stabbing Ethan, Like she looked like it was good, and maybe it's in her blood. I don't know. Maybe the mom is psychotic. Also, it's not just Billy. Um, they really explored, and I'd like to see them continue that. Like Sam, like in Her Darkness, like how she's talking to Christopher Stone, and she's like, and I liked it, like I enjoyed it, and like you could see that struggle, like she wanted it to happen again, and I'd like to see that, like, everyone's freaking out because Ghostface is back, and Sam's like pumped, like, yes, I get to kill another one, like, like that would be, I think that would be a cool way, and then maybe Tara's kind of exploring that too. I mean, but I don't know. I don't know if it would work both ways. I think Jenna Ortega could do crazy really well, but I think it's kind of got to be one and the other, and the storyline kind of seems to fit Sam, right? Like if you have just both sisters are psychotic and crazy, it's like, I don't know. I just feel like that might clash a little bit, but
yeah, I agree with that. I think that it's kind of, we have this going on with Sam. I mean, they could allude to it, especially if we consider this last movie the kind of the, rounding out this story. But if both of them are kind of, you know what I mean, I think it's too much of a similar beat.
Yeah, they're already kind of setting that up with Sam. Like it would be weird if they're like, oh no, Jenna Ortega is going to be the big killer in the next movie instead. When there was like, I mean, I guess that's a little bit of setup for that, but like they already kind of did that in the past 2 movies with Sam. You know what I mean? It's like it would just be kind of like, but why didn't you do this? but why didn't we do this instead? I love Jenna Ortega too. I kind of like that she's our protagonist here. I don't know. I think she does that really well too, in my opinion. So I don't know if I would want that to change right at the end of the story.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I think I like the dynamic they've got running right now for these two. So I agree with you guys. I would rather see it be more on Sam than Tara. I will say this, man, it was so cool seeing Sam kill Bailey in a costume.
Yes.
And she got to take her mask off. Like that was cool, man.
Yeah, man.
And,
so technically, she's a Ghostface killer.
She is.
I mean,
just saying.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. When you're
does
right,
that make?
right.
I mean, does that make Sydney a killer though? Too, she did that.
Let me have my fun, Jake. Let me have my fun. No, I'm just joking.
Hey, I mean,
no.
Sydney's killed. We've talked about it before. Sydney's killed more people than most Ghostface. So,
but in self-defense, you know what I mean? It was
so was Sam.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think like. I don't know. You know what, man? Who gives a shit about the technical shit?
Well, it was. I was just thinking it was funny because Radio Silence had said, I can't remember what interview it was, but they said, well, Sam was in the costume and she killed so much. So it was just funny hearing them joke about it,
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, Craven. Go ahead, finish up. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say there were a lot of things in 6 that I really liked seeing that were first, And that was one. That was another one. We got to see Sam viciously destroy Bailey, much in the way she did Richie. I mean, just going at it, man. And I mean, it's so funny. Like she's going and going and going and going and going, and then she takes the mask off and she raises up to stab him again. And Tara walks up. It's like, and gives her a look like you don't need to do anymore. You can just, remember that look she gave her, and she like stopped.
Yeah.
Like, Sam wanted to keep going, but anyway, the mask with Sam was great, and the double Ghostface attack with Chad and the knife wipes, the opening kill, all those things that were and 3 killers, guys, for the first time.
Technically 5.
Well, I mean, true. That you're right.
Plus, technically, a cult of Ghostface.
It was basically a cult.
Kinda.
Yeah, you're right. What was it, Gary and Jason?
Jason and Greg.
Greg and Jason.
Greg and Jason. So, I count them as bonus, but you're right, 5, yeah. Anyway, I think that this is something that really seemed like they delivered on what the fandom has been wanting to see for a long time in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I agree.
And I hope that continues. I hope that James and Guy continue to do those kind of new things like that, and when they're in the right. Yeah,
that's why we keep coming back. You know, we don't want to see the same movie again. We want to see them try some new things, and Six did that in a lot of ways, which was fun. But I do want to say, I like that it's arguable how many ghost faces there are now. Like, there was a very clear-cut 9 before this film, and now it's like, how many really are there? You know, what is the real number? 12, 14, 15?
Yeah, what is the what is the criteria?
Jake, would you say it's just a hard 3 or 4, or what?
I would say 14 in total, personally. Like, I count Greg because he was gonna kill people, and he knew of Tony Revolori's character going around doing it. So that makes him guilty, in my opinion. He could have stopped that, but he didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely like the worst one. But
he didn't even do it.
Hey, look.
He's a dork. He's just a pile of meat.
Nerd.
What a nerd.
Oh man, that's too funny. Oh
wow.
Oh, speaking of things that you can't do is Jake. I looked up. You can't own an alligator in Ohio. I'm sorry.
Oh,
way to kill the vibe, bro.
I know.
I know. We were riding high, man.
Like,
we were talking about how it was Christmas with this Scream 6 movie, and now, geez.
Now it's
how do you know everything has to become a law for some reason? How do you
that
think that happened?
Somebody probably owned an alligator and it probably ate the whole family or something.
Hey,
it was. I really looked it up. I was like, "Can you own an alligator in Ohio?" He was like, "Yeah." How much can an alligator be? Like, that would have been funny to just mail you a crocodile or an alligator.
Why is this gigantic box hissing at me?
Right. You can't own a lion, an alligator, or a crocodile, and like there's like a whole list of animals you can't own. I was like, damn, there goes my next idea. I was thinking of fucking lion.
I'm looking at that right now, and it's like, yeah, you can't. Wow, that's nuts.
I'm telling you, I really looked it up. I was like, that would be funny. Or it just have been funny. Like, we could have done a bit where, like, you could rent animals. So, like, if you could own one, then you could probably rent one. So I was thinking it'd just be funny to, like, mail you, like, pay somebody a couple $100 to, like, let you borrow their alligator for a day.
Too funny.
For the bachelor party, let's get an alligator, guys. It's
Money well spent.
Oh, my God.
Could you imagine Jake walking an alligator on a leash? Like
just walking his
I could.
Alligator.
I literally could, man.
Keeping my distance.
You're just talking to Jake, and he's holding like a box of rats, and it's like, what's the rats for? He's just tossing it to his alligator. He's like, you don't see my alligator.
Dude.
He's tossing a couple. Then he takes a couple.
He's tossing a couple. He's eating a couple. He's just...
Every time he has one for himself, the alligator gets a little ticked off.
It's like the head for me, the body for the gator.
Oh my God. What the hell is going on?
We're talking about real world stuff here. This is the heart. This is what the people want.
That's why you clicked on the stream.
That's right. Yeah. No more Jupiter brain stuff. We're talking about alligators.
Exactly.
The greatest episode of all time. Specialized is saying, isn't the hype for Scream 7 is Sidney possibly returning fate? I don't think they should start with their own thing without connections. Scream 7 could be the proper with legacies for a huge break.
Problem is, it's like, I mean, I don't think the hype for Scream 7 is Sidney possibly returning, because it's almost more likely that she won't now than she would. And just from the consensus that I've seen, it seems like a lot of people are okay that Sidney's wasn't in that movie. And it didn't feel like you needed her in that movie. Like, it felt like if she was in that movie, it would have just been her in the movie just for the sake of her being in the movie. Kind of felt like that with Gail.
Yeah.
A little bit, in my opinion. I felt like Gail was just kind of there to just have Gail there rather than her really fit in the story. But I don't really think the hype for Scream 7 is because Sidney's possibly returning. If she does, I'm sure people will be excited. Mm-hmm. As far as like going without a connection, problem with Scream 7 is like, what kind of so like, are you gonna do like the Roman thing again, right? Like what kind of connections can you keep adding to like what we already have that's full circle? Like, you're gonna bring in like Leslie Mocker and have that storyline? Like, cool, maybe, but it's just like, I don't know. I much rather personally them just, I feel like you had this great conclusive moment. I actually made a video about this, which is actually a good talking point too. We could talk about is like the shrine, right? I loved the shrine. I thought that was super cool, but that was like kind of to me seemed like be all end all. Like, how do you top that? Like what's the next grand mastermind thing that's going to be better than a shrine of all the greatest hits of Scream, right? Like that sounds like something you would do to finish a trilogy, not like in the middle of a trilogy, right? So I think the way you could look at it is you got like 1, 2, and 3, then you got 4, 5, and 6. 7 is a clean break, and instead of trying to top Scream 6, you just tell a new story with the same characters, and there you go. Now you got a clean break, all that stuff, and you got a new story, and it's not Billy's uncle returning to take out his daughter or something like that, or Leslie Mocker returning to do that. Christina Carpenter. Like, I mean, it kind of even seemed like they tried to get away from those characters, which I was surprising. I was like, why did you establish them in 5 to just go like they made a point to say that like the mother, Christina Carpenter, has been completely cut off, that she cut off Sam and then Tara cut her off. Therefore, is that so? What, you're gonna have like the mother revenge? Like, oh, if I kill Sam, then like I don't want to. I just think.
Yeah.
I just think however you look at connecting, no matter what, even if you do bring Sidney back, connecting the past, like you don't need to connect it to the past to bring Sidney back. I mean, you could just kill Gale and then there you go. Or just have a ghost face that's just like your connection for the past is just they want to just kill everybody or kill all the survivors or whatever, like we talked about before. Like that's not really a connection to the past. I mean, kind of because of the characters, but like I don't want a direct connection. I think they're going to. I think that just based on the track record we've gotten, but I don't know.
I just think about how like the highest points of this last movie, like I did really like the third act. I feel like I'm alone in that boat, but that's okay. I enjoyed it. Okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too.
Cool. I hear a lot of people saying the opposite, but hey, that makes me happy. My thing about it is I definitely think the highest points of the movie are when they like did something we've never seen before, and that was fucking awesome. And I just think like, what's an entire movie like that? What does that look like? That doesn't follow a similar, like this one definitely stepped out of the usual format, which was nice. But I would like to see them take even another step into that. Like, what else can we do? What other weird thing can we do to make this like whole thing just something else, but also still keep that DNA of Scream? Give us a new story, but at the same time, let's try something else. Let's try something new. Let's follow a ghost face for a whole movie, maybe. Like why not? Right. I've always thought the ghost face killers were like they're so interesting as characters when you finally get to hear like why they're doing this and what's going on, but like to actually see the workings of it like during an attack. That was so interesting. We talk about it all the time, like about like who was killing this person at this point. Like, well, it had to be Liana for Gale's kill. You know what I mean? Let's see that. Let's see that conversation happen with all the ghost faces being like, oh, you gotta, here's the plan. Do this, do that, and let's see the disagreements, and all that. There's a whole movie just sitting there. I think that, it's no surprise it's coming from me, but it's like I would love to see that movie. Just like let's get that made. There's so many cool stories we can do focusing on our killers in the future. If you're like, well, I don't know what else we can do with the Carpenter sisters, if that's where the writers are at, well, take it down that way instead. Show us a Ghostface story, man. This is one of the coolest villains in maybe horror history, and I feel like there's still more we can do with it, even in moving forward into a 7th entry.
I agree with that. Absolutely. No doubt. It would be something that would be creative. And I think that we kind of need to go down that road. I mean, I just don't know how many, because, and we've said it here, but also I've seen it in comments and stuff. And, how many more relations are we going to, skew off of? Like we can't just keep doing that,
Billy's second cousin.
On his mother's side, it's like
specifically,
it's like, oh yeah, that family reunion when you were 7 years old and we found that long lost side of the family. It's like, I think we need to keep pushing into something different. We can still honor the past in different ways, or maybe still have winks and nods. But I really think it would be a smart idea, especially for 7, to just go somewhere different, and then of course we can set up something else down the road, and maybe we do get back into the relative game. I don't know, but I think they should in other words, I guess what I'm saying is I don't think they should step back in the creativity, because we've gotten 6 and they kind of pushed us out of the formula a little bit more. I think we should keep going. I really do. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I do. I think, at some point, you run the risk of just chasing away your audience, right? Like you gotta at some point you gotta start transitioning in other directions, right?
Right.
Look, I like Scream 5 and 6, but they were Wes Craven movies modernized. Like, how many times are you going to do that, right? I still am waiting to see, like, what does a radio silent Scream look like? Like, we've seen elements of it, but like for an entire movie, I feel like we haven't really seen that. I feel a lot of it is like, here's some cool ideas, and let's tie those cool ideas into a story from the past, right? Like Scream 5 was basically almost a shot-by-shot remake in many ways. Scream 6, I felt, went a different direction a little bit more than Scream 2. But it was still the same setting, the same motive, the same killing. Like it just, the list, you just check. And it's like, I don't know. I just, like Jake said, do a perspective of the killers, or, do like even early on, like I said, in one of the previous streams, like it would have been cool. Like if you wanted to do the 3 killers, great. I felt like the 3 killers were just to do 3 killers in a lot of ways. Like I felt like it was just like, here's your 3 killers, right? Like this is what you guys wanted. Here you go. Rather than like making it tie into the story. Like you could have done something like where Jason, like, Dermot Mulroney's character kills Bailey, kills Greg, goes to Jason, is like, take your choice. You can join us or I'll kill you, but you can help us. The shrine is in his name. Everything's in his name. And now you get the perspective of Jason. We know he's the killer. We know he's involved. We're trying to figure out who are the other 2. Turns out the other 2 are like, Quinn and Bailey. And it's like, oh, it's the guy from but it would have given you such a different perspective throughout the film, because all of the interactions with Jason, rather than Ethan, you could have had Jason. They established him immediately. You knew what his character was, who he was, all that stuff. You could have had him just have a couple scenes throughout that just was kind of planting the scenes, maybe even setting some of them up. Like that would have been cool. Like, hey, I'm going to go to this thing. Would you go with me? Like, maybe just had Ethan be a character. Like, hey, Ethan, like, I'm going to go check this out. Can you come with me? And he's like, yeah, sure. And we know as an audience, like, don't do that. No. Don't go with him. He's trying to take you to your death. And yet that's what happens, and he dies. Like, that would have been something cool.
My thing about it is I feel like we do kind of have some of that in 6, like some of that dramatic irony where it's like you kind of know who the killer is, like, because I don't think they do that. Like a lot of people are like, oh man, Dermot Mulroney was so obvious, but I feel like that was done kind of on purpose, and I feel like once again, this isn't anything new for the franchise. We did that with Billy Loomis back in the first entry, and we kind of did that again here. Put all the focus on that one character, but when the twist happens, it's like there's more to it. There's 3 people, and it's it's Richie's family and all that. So I appreciated it. I was okay with it personally. I just think that I think people just kind of misinterpreted what they were trying to do there. Like I don't know. To me, like he was totally obvious. I mean, he walks out limping while he's crying. At that one scene, it's like okay, cool. And there's no more characters. Okay, cool. Yeah, pretty much it's him. But that's fine, because it's like my attention was directly on him. I didn't guess Ethan. Ethan got me, honestly. I was like, oh, wow, okay, shit. We're doing this. I really thought it was going to be 2. I was like, I wanted to be 3, but I didn't think we were really going that route. But I don't know. It's not like the worst reveal I've ever seen in a movie. Some people are acting like that, and it's like, guys, come on. there's worse reveals out there, I think.
Right. Absolutely. And we also have another super chat coming in from Brandon. $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Saying it'd be cool if they were doing a true crime documentary series in the next movie. Great way to bring everyone back without it feeling forced.
Could have some actors in there playing some past characters, like different people, kind of like Scream 3.
Yeah,
I just don't want it to be Scream 3 again. I'm sorry. I'll
that's
shut up,
my thing too.
But, yeah.
I don't either. Like I said, I just really want them to clean break. I just want a fresh start. You know, like I don't need to see Wes Craven's trilogy again. If I want to watch Wes Craven's trilogy, I'll just watch Wes Craven's trilogy. Like, you know, like I mean, look, I'm not a big fan of Scream 4, but a lot of people are. A lot of people love that movie. A lot of people think that movie's the best in the franchise. And that was a clean break film. Right? I mean, yes, you had, you know, Sidney's cousin or whatever, but at least it was something different, you know?
Right.
It was a fresh story with fresh characters, and they kind of incorporated the OG3 rather than like making it centered around them. I mean, it was still a Sidney movie in a lot of ways, but it was more focused on, you know, Jill and her group of friends. Like, why not do something like that? You have the new core characters, fresh, clean break. You don't have to make it like Sam's cousin or anything like that, but like, you know, just have it. Cousin. Yeah, just have a new story with these characters. Develop these characters, have us in love with these characters, and there you go. I don't know.
Sam's cousin from Nebraska.
Yeah, like
Billy had another daughter that's the killer in this one.
Right?
Oh Billy's master plan was to have a bunch of serial killer children.
It all comes to pass.
Yeah, it all comes full circle. 27 years later or whatever, you know, 27 years later, all 5 of my children have took up killing except for you, Sam. It's time for you to come. Like, it's like, what? And then it's like, oh, you got 7 children. It's the 7th movie. Jupiter brain shit.
Oh, jeez.
There's 7 killers in the next movie. Jeez.
Yeah, well, there's 6. Sam's supposed to be the 7th.
Well, yeah.
Come on, right. Jupiter brain stuff. Clearly, Jake doesn't have a Jupiter brain.
Oh, clearly not, no. Counting's a little too hard for me right now.
There you go.
Math.
Go ahead, Jake.
I was just gonna say I just got out of John Wick 4, so like that's all that's on my mind right now.
You just saw it?
Yeah, I just saw it. Like I literally just got home. Dude. Like I loved it, but I definitely have an issue with it. Like that's all I'm gonna say. Like
I think I know what it might be, or at least have an idea.
I loved it though. Like it's still so fun. It's still super crazy. But like,
is it the best one yet?
No. Like people are overhyping it big time. Like it doesn't beat 2 or 3 in my opinion.
But it is a spectacle, dude. Like I was just like, how have I been in this theater for this long and I'm not antsy? Like it was just like, I don't know, man. It was crazy.
I loved it. Like I said, I loved it, but it doesn't top 2 or 3. Like I think it's definitely, I think both of those movies are definitely better, but this one, it's so different. Like it's not a John Wick movie, but it's good. You know what I mean? Like it's more of a drama more than anything with action sequences, where I feel the reverse of the past 2 John Wick movies, you know, where it's like the action sequences are the highlight. And it's like, this is why you come for Keanu Reeves being a badass. That's not what this movie is, but I appreciated it. I was like, okay, that makes sense for this movie to happen where it did. But yeah I still like 2 and 3 more. Okay, I'm gonna shut up. That's it.
Oh my gosh. And we also got I Like Scary. Brandon's in the chat too. What's going on, man?
What's up, man?
Yo, what's up?
Good to see you. Good to see you. Let's see. Austin saying I was basically told I have amnesia for thinking 5 is better than 4. It was so random, and to be honest, I'm not even sure what it means. Oh man. Well, that's the thing, man. You know, so many people love the different movies. I think it just speaks to just the franchise. You know, it's a really good franchise. It really, really is.
There's a lot to love from the Scream movies, and I think that's why you have like different camps of people, you know, going nuts over different movies and not loving some of the other movies. Because I think all of them expand on certain things. Like I think the newer ones are more like definitely like horror driven, where like 2 and 3 are a little more like campy goofiness driven, you know, and that's fine. It's wonderful. It's just different fields of things to like from horror films, and this franchise kind of covers it all. I think that's what's wonderful about it.
I don't think there's a bad Scream movie. Like. No. For like it's like there's Scream movies that like, you know, that I'm like like that was bad compared to like the others, but like when you look at like there's still I would stack up every single one of these Scream movies to any slasher in the genre. Like seriously. And I mean, even the ones that like 4, I'm not a big fan of 4, but I still think it's better than 99% of the slashers in this space. So I mean that's just
it's a little better than that,
movies.
you know, it's
just a little, barely. It barely
Those are
did
my
better.
movies, the Leprechaun movies, I love those movies, man.
Yeah, you do. Yes, you
Those things
do.
are, dude, Leprechaun in Las Vegas. Viva
Stop.
Las Vegas, man. Let's
Stop
do
it.
that. When the girl
Las
starts
Vegas.
expanding and explodes, like that was great. she wants all her things, man. Come on. It's so ridiculous. The guy turns into a leprechaun, fights back on the stage.
What?
Like, come on. Let's hang on. Never mind. We're transferring. This is now a leprechaun. So what is it?
Oh my god.
Dude, Leprechaun 4 is a masterpiece, and you can't tell me otherwise.
Which one is 4?
The space one.
Oh,
Space one.
Dude,
The one in space. Dude, the CGI is incredible.
You know what would be
You
cool
like,
is to have us.
Marvel? You think Marvel has great CGI? Come on. Watch Leprechaun 4 and tell me.
God.
Dude, Leprechaun 2, I still remember. She sneezes once. She sneezes twice. She'll be my bride when she sneezes thrice. I love this movie. I say that every time. I see a pretty girl.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say after that.
That's your opening
There's
line at a
nothing
bar.
you can't say. They're masterpieces.
Joshua is saying it came out that Sidney was never intended to be in the movie, but the studio tried to get her, which would have been a post-credit scene where she gets a call setting up the next movie.
Yeah,
What do you guys
supposedly there were like the original rumors that came out about Sidney's role. Like, I mean, this was like back when this whole Sidney thing happened, was that she was supposed to be the cliffhanger. And then there was, well, I guess now you could say him because it doesn't matter, but one of the cliffhangers was supposed to be Ghostface gets away, hits up, captures Gail, makes Gail call Sidney, and then kills Gail at the end over the phone. As Sidney like basically hears Gail die, and that's how she gets involved in Scream 7. That was supposed to be the setup. You basically get Gail dead, which I think that would have been awesome. Like, talk about a way to like set up your next film. You kill your other legacy character, and then you know Sidney's coming back. How true is that stuff? Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, we'll probably never know if that is 100% accurate. But yeah, she was supposed to be cliffhanger, was the idea.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, I'm here for it. Once again, I'm kind of just still in the boat of like how many people want to kill Sidney Prescott. You know, like I'm happy that she got her happy ending.
Yeah.
Kind of. You know, the more I think about where the story is now, it's like, man, it would be nuts if we just randomly focused on Sidney again. But if she gets thrown into the mix again somehow, I'm here for it too. So.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it almost makes no sense to bring her back, given because in Scream 6 you get the dialogue where they're like, well, what about this? She's like, she took Mark and the kids somewhere safe. She deserves her happy ending or whatever, and it's like, there you go.
Yeah,
like she deserves it more than anybody. It's like, there you go. Like, there's your send off. Like, it sucks that the last time we saw her was like on an ambulance. Like,
right.
It would have been nice to like. Yeah. It would have been nice to have like a sequence where you get that, where you get that send off or something. Like, even if it was like a simple phone call with Gail, like, it would have been cool. Like, or Gail shows up to Sidney's house and she's outside in the backyard playing with the kids, and Gail just like sees that and just like, I can't bring her back in.
Yeah,
that would have been emotional. That would have been, that would have been emotional. It would have been heartfelt. Like, it would have been a proper goodbye to Sidney. Her and Mark are in the back. Maybe Gail's banging on the door and no one's answering. And so she goes to the backyard and like looks over the fence, and Sidney and Mark are playing with the kids and stuff. Like, that would have been so cool. And then Gail just turns around and walks away, and she's just like, I can't. And and then you get a scene later where she tells Sam like, Sidney's happy, let her be happy. Like, that would have been brilliant. Boom, there you go. But
yeah, that would have been, I think, and she deserves that as a character, and just to have that type of moment with some music and maybe just showing Nev being happy, Sidney being happy. I think that would have been really cool. Now it's up in the air.
Yeah. I'm ready to see her back. You guys know how I feel. I'm ready. So
Yeah.
I hope they work it out and she's back and the queen of the franchise returns.
The queen
That's
is
my hope.
back.
Yes.
How do you think that they could bring her back in 7?
I was just gonna.
Yeah. You almost have to either. To me, is only. I mean, there's probably more than only 2, but I can
Right.
only think of 2 that probably work. And it's either someone's come after her or her family, or
Right.
someone's come after Gail, or someone that she's going to come and help, or come back and try to intervene with, like kind of in 5. That's the or the other option is that she's still in the movie, but she's not really involved. She's more of a mentor, like almost how Sam called out to Dewey, went to Dewey's house, where she calls Sydney, or she goes and sees Sydney, and kind of has that scene where Sydney gives her advice, and there's you have to write a good dialogue, but that kind of situation, and then you don't really see Sydney much anymore. But I personally, I would just, it's you got to be creative. It's got to be written well, but it can be done, man. They can, and I know that the argument always is how many people are going to keep wanting to kill Sydney, and I do understand that. Of course, in my world, in my writing world, it's a Stu and Sydney return, and it's the final showdown, and Stu is eventually definitively killed. But that's what I'd like to see. And that's a reason for Sydney to come back. Stu returns in the picture somehow. And I'm not going to spend. I don't have time to. We've gone down these rabbit trails many times, but I'll just say very shortly, if you were to go that route, I think that makes sense still. If you were to find a way to bring him back, and as maybe the dreaded thread author, or however you want to do that, whatever, that makes sense. But it's like I said in 6, she said she's away safe with the kids and the family, so you'd have to either make her unsafe, or you'd have to have something that motivates her to come back in the story. To me, those are only 2 practical ways I can think of. So that's what I would say. Yeah,
Craven, I was gonna tell you, man. I Matthew Lillard kissed my hand yesterday.
No way.
I swear to hand to God. Hand to God.
What?
So
what did you have to do for that?
Well, I kissed his ass first. Figuratively, I'm being serious, but So we met him yesterday at the horror con. They wouldn't let us in line Saturday. Like, his line was so long, they capped it.
Man,
wow.
yeah.
So all day Saturday, we tried 2 or 3 times, and they're just like, yeah, no, line's capped. And I'm like, oh man, we couldn't even get into Skeet's line Sunday. It was by the time we got out of Matthew's line, they wouldn't let us in. And I was like, all right, well, I guess
you were in the line and then they capped it before you could.
We did Matthew's line first. Dude, we got there at 7:30 a.m. basically. We got in line for the doors. We rushed inside. Matthew already has a line, and then we got in that. And then by the time we waited another 3 hours once we got into Matthew's line. I met him. He was just the nicest human being ever. It was fantastic. But we got out of line and we tried to get into Skeets, like I said, and it was just nope, it was capped already. It was dude, what is crazy? But I got to meet almost everybody. I didn't get to meet Skeet, but I got to meet Matthew, and that was insane. It was awesome. He's the nicest human being you'll ever meet.
Did you try to pump him for some info on Scream 7?
I figured everybody has asked him about that at some points. I did ask him a lot about Five Nights at Freddy's though, and he's very excited for that. he told me he was playing. He is playing William Afton. I didn't know if that was confirmed or not, but I asked him. He's like, yeah. I'm like the human villain. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a good time. So I'm like, I can't wait, man. It's gonna be sick. So
That's
he was
nice.
very
so
nice,
cool.
very over the top. My buddy Andrew, he's bald, and like he when my buddy took off his hat, you know, and he kind of like started feeling the top of his head. He's like, ooh, peach fuzz, like that. He's crazy. Like he's just as nutty in real life, and I love it. Super nice guy.
He really
Isn't
is.
it-
He is
isn't
a
it gonna
nice
be
dude.
great? Isn't it going to be great, guys, to see him on the big screen again in a horror movie? It's going to be so great.
Yeah.
agree.
I can't wait for Five Nights at Freddy's, dude. It's gonna be sick.
Oh,
I know
wow.
it would be great to see him in something, you know, because it's like it's been a long time.
It's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah.
We should fate.
One last thing, and then we could wrap it up. Is I think we should talk about this because we talked about the announcement. Freddie Prinze Jr. Did you guys see what Freddie Prinze said about the new I Know What You Did Last Summer? Because all the word was that he was supposed to be in this upcoming like remake or requel or whatever they were gonna do, and he basically just bashed them and said they're just like nobody's reached out to him, like that somebody pitched the original like the idea, but he's like nothing's been confirmed, nobody's talked to me or my agent or anything like that, and he's like they're just hyping it up to get to basically he's like it's unfortunate that like these movies will use these tactics to try to build hype. He's like they're trying to use my name and like Jennifer Love Hewitt's name to like build hype to maybe do the movie. He's like, we don't even know if the movie's getting made yet. And he's like, it happens a lot. Like he had this whole like rant about it, which I thought was interesting. And I was like,
Wow.
oh snap. So yeah, so
Oh, wow.
that movie might not even be being made for one, and two, according to Freddie Prinze Jr. You know, unless something's changed because this came out like a week or so ago, maybe they've hit him up since then. But yeah, according to him, that it's all just nonsense. That they're just using his name to try to build hype. Like, what do you guys think about that?
That sucks.
It does
Sucks.
suck, man. It's very
Yeah.
disappointing. Just hearing that is like, damn, man, what a downer.
Freddie Prinze Jr. Because that would have been cool. That would have been cool to get like. I mean, maybe. I mean, they still might. It doesn't mean that they won't. It just you think you would have that figured out first.
Wasn't it Freddie that said something about like I haven't done a horror movie in a while? I really want to be in one too. Like, wasn't that like
Yeah.
a couple of years
Yeah.
ago he said that? So like,
Yeah, no, he said it. He said it recently. Even again, he reiterated that he would love to be in a new horror movie, that he wants to start acting. But he said he doesn't want to just do projects just to do projects. He wants to do stuff that he loves because he's doing all kinds of like he works for like, or he I don't know if he still does, but he was like one of the big guys at like the WWE and like you know he was like big in like the Star Wars scene, like doing all
Right.
like the Star Wars stuff and like so yeah, so he's like, I'm at the point in my life where I only want to do the things that I want to do. He's like, I get offered stuff all the time. He's like, I just don't want to do it.
Right.
He's like, I could be in movies. And he talked about like being typecast. He's like, you know, like they always want me to play like now he's like they want me to play like the dad in the rom-com where I used to be like the guy, like the kid in the rom-com. He's like, now they want me to be like the Christmas dad that like falls in love with like his son's mom or you know whatever like
yeah.
like you know,
Yeah.
like that one of those things, and he's like, yeah, like it's just not what I want to do anymore. And I was like, yeah, I get that.
Horror movies are fun, man.
And real quick too, I just want to just jump in because we have another super chat that had come in from Radioactive Cosmic Rays. What's going on, man? Thank you so much for the $5 super
Thank you.
chat. Sorry, we just got to that. Then Ghostface can be anyone, but it's always Caucasian people's the main Ghostface killers. When are we gonna get a black Ghostface for once? And I'm black. Right there, you go. I was almost thinking once we were watching this that we might get that because as soon as the whole idea of like, dude, there's literally a cult. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right word to use, but you know, you had multiple Ghostface killers plotting and planning. I thought, you know, that might have been the opportunity, but who knows? Who knows?
Well, the problem is too is it's just the era we're in. Like they're literally making a movie.
Tony Revolori is
literally-
not white.
Right.
I don't know what to
He's
like.
not.
You can't even make
Exactly.
that argument. I don't know.
He's
I don't know what to
not.
tell you.
He's not. But he wasn't the main killer. He wasn't the main antagonist. I mean, we're still in this. They're making a movie. What is it? What's the name of the movie? The title is like We All Can't Die First. what is it, the blackening or whatever? Like, and that's getting all kinds of outrage stuff, and like that's the whole play on it. I mean, we're in this era where it's just like they don't like studios don't want to touch that. They don't want an African American killer or something like that because they're afraid of the outrage, which I think is silly because it is a minority. Most people like if it's I don't care. I don't care if he's black, white, Asian, pink, like whatever. Like like just give me somebody that can act well, that can play the killer part, that can be good. It's not like it's just I don't know. Eventually we'll get there because I think that you can have some really cool, like there's some great actors out there that you can have be killers, So I don't know.
Good point.
There is a lot of stuff out there that does that. It's just it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it just doesn't get as popular or something. But I don't know. I'm all for it. I love that we got our first person of color playing a ghost face in this new one, and maybe we can. I don't know. Maybe that happens again in the future. My buddy Darjan, who I'm currently working on his short film right now. He pitched me a Scream short that we might do. It's a really interesting idea, and I don't know. It would involve something to that degree, and I'm like, ooh, okay, that's really cool. I loved it. I loved his pitch. So if we end up doing that, go down that road and write it, it would be something along that lines. Those lines. It would be fun.
Nice.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
It would be cool.
I agree.
Wayne said Tyga. Was it Tigra? I mean, yeah, the TV series like 10 years ago. That's what I'm saying. This era. I mean, there were movies 10 years ago where they had people of color as killers and stuff. It's just right now we're in this like stage where it doesn't seem like they want to do it. And there are some like lower budget stuff, but all the mainstream stuff, like all the theater stuff, seems to be
right. Yeah, man. Crazy stuff.
Tyga, the best ghost face in the franchise.
Oh, jeez. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna get ready to end up there. But for you guys in live chat, thank you so much for hanging out. We really appreciate it. Leave us some comments. Let us know some of your ideas and thoughts for what could happen in Scream 7 or what you'd like to see. Hopefully, we'll be getting the news soon. We're assuming that we will. And don't forget to hit the like button. It helps to support us, and we would really appreciate it. And we will catch you guys later. The collective has spoken. Peace out and good night.
Bye, guys.
Peace.
Peace.